Are you pregnant? Or do you know someone that's pregnant? Well, we have the perfect place for you. Look at Me 4D Imaging has you covered right here in Livingston Parish to get your next ultrasound or find out the gender of your baby. Look at Me 4D Imaging offers a newborn baby boutique, gender reveal supplies, keepsake heartbeat animals, same day and next day appointments, and they are conveniently located right in the heart of the town of Livingston. They are here to help capture your memories that will last a lifetime for expecting moms and their families. Miss Anna would love to introduce you to your baby. Check them out on Facebook or visit their website at lookatme4dimaging.com to see what they have to offer, or give them a call at area code 225-435-9749. Look at Me 4D Imaging, a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast.
Hi, it's Trisha Johnston, residential realtor with Ladder & Bloom with your real estate tip of the week. In this healthy housing market, property values have steadily increased. If you're a homeowner who decides to sell, the benefit is obvious. If you're a homeowner who decides not to sell, you can still benefit, and here's how. If when you purchased the home, you got a mortgage and you put less than 20% down, chances are you're paying PMI or private mortgage insurance. That's an insurance that protects the lender in case you default on the mortgage. It's of no benefit to you, so the sooner you can get PMI removed from your monthly payment, the better. An appraiser or a realtor can help you determine the current market value of your home. Your lender can tell you what your current mortgage balance is, and they can give you what the guidelines are to have the PMI removed. There's time restrictions and some stipulations that they can give you the details on. But if you qualify, you can save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a year moving forward. So it's definitely worth the time and effort to check into it and have it removed if you're able to. If you have any questions about this or anything else real estate, just give me a call and I'll be happy to help. I'm Trisha Johnston with Ladder & Bloom, and I'll be back here next week with another real estate tip for you.
Every year, you've consumed the weight of a small child in French fries. Every year, the average American consumes nearly 30 pounds of this popular side item. My guest for today has a business that turns that side item into a main course and turns French fries in general into a work of art. While in the short term, Jon Sandon is all about French fries. His long-term vision is what makes him the type of leader we want to feature on this show. And today you're going to learn about both. So with that, welcome Jon Sandon of Big John's Fast Fries to Local Leaders Podcast.
Thank you so much. It's awesome to be here. Thank you.
I'm excited, and I was telling you before we went on air that I got hungry every time I researched your awesome looking fries.
That's
man.
the idea.
That is the idea. So you contacted me initially regarding a podcast. And before we met, I was like, man, I love French fries, but how am I going to fill up an entire episode talking about French fries? Then we met, and I'm telling all of you out there in the camera world and in the listening world that within 10 minutes of talking with Big John, my thought was this guy has an unbelievable story, and I can't wait to tell it. So get comfortable. You're about to hear an amazing story today. So John, before we get into your business and talk all about French fries, tell me a little about your family.
So I am one of three. I have two older sisters, making me the baby boy. Spoiled,
baby boy,
of
yes.
course. Gotta be.
Indeed.
My mom always joked. She said she wanted to have a boy. I was like, no, you just tried twice and got it right the third time.
That's right. That's right. Mothers love their sons and sons love their mothers. There's no doubt about that. No doubt.
And then I have two little boys myself. I've
Okay.
got an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they take up a whole bunch of my time.
Yes.
Active as all get out.
Yeah, and they're at that age, man.
Oh, yeah.
They're fun though at that age. You know, they're old enough where they can kind of get around on their own, but not so small that they can't, get into anything. And so they're interesting at that age for sure. I remember those days. Awesome. And your mom works at the restaurant?
My mom does.
Just to help out.
Yeah, when I first came up with it, I hadn't planned on asking anyone to help me out with it. And as soon as it was really getting moving, she said, okay, well, when do I start? I was like, I wasn't planning on that. And I was like, okay, well, what am I going to pay you? She's like, you're not.
Oh, well, hey, that's
Okay.
That's the best kind of work right there.
Yeah, she actually, the way we work it is I'm the cook and officially the owner, and she is the GM. That way she handles the scheduling. She makes sure that everything keeps running smooth because I do have to work my other job as well. So I work at 2 jobs at once.
Wow. I know how that feels too. I get that. Yeah. And you're building a business. You're building an empire really over there at Big John's Fast Fries. Now, you kind of made your way into Louisiana. You're not originally from here. So where are you originally from?
No, I was born in California. That was, my dad was working out there. Moved to Wisconsin with my whole family when I was about 5 years old. I moved to Texas when I went to the National Guard.
Yes.
Deployed actually out of Texas. When I came back, I moved to Louisiana, and that was in 2008.
2008. So you were National Guard, Army National Guard?
Army National Guard.
Thank you for your service on that. And you actually got some training there in the National Guard in cooking, right?
I did, yes. When I went to see my recruiter, I asked specifically, I said, what is going to be infantry when I'm deployed that isn't when I'm stateside? At which point he smiled and said, I like you.
Yeah.
And told me I wanted to be a cook because it was going to give me the best bonus, but there was no way I'd be a cook when I got deployed.
Right.
So thankfully, I learned a great life skill. And when I was in Iraq, I happened to be one of the gun truck gunners. I was sticking out the top of the truck.
Wow. That's awesome. Pretty cool. And Iraq was that was a real place, right?
I was there during enduring freedom rather than Iraqi freedom. So it was a little more calm down then. Still definitely dangerous. I mean, there were plenty of IEDs getting set off at that time, but there was a lot less active fighting so much. So,
yeah.
Thank you.
Interesting thing that stood out to me was basically your entire concept for your fries. And I'm going to get kind of to the why you do what you do in just a little while, because that's the most special part of the story is the why you do what you do. That's the thing that really intrigued me. But so we're going to talk about the business first and then the why behind the business shortly after. So you made your way to Louisiana, as we discussed, and at some point you decided, I'm going to open up a restaurant focusing on fries. Now, that sounds great to me because I love me some fries. But there was a little inspiration with Todd Graves and Raising Cane's that kind of got your wheels turning, I guess you could say. Tell me how you came up with the concept for Big John's.
Well, I started thinking something that doesn't really exist. And I was, if you talk about when you're going out to eat for fast food, most people, they don't necessarily decide by the burger. Everybody has most the same kind of burger. You go because we'll go where you want to get the fries.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
So I like chili cheese fries. I like the debris fries from Your Mom's Cafe. And I was along with Todd Graves. I had heard that story. A lot of people like to tell that because he's local legend here, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
And, the idea of doing one thing and just making sure you do it right. So I already had a couple of different flavors that you could put on fries to make some really good loaded fries. And I was like, well, if everyone picks because of the fries, why not just make really good fries?
Yeah.
And from there, I expanded it out, got to 5 different types of sauce and gravy that we put on the fries. And we've got a couple of seasonings. We've got extras you can put on it. 4 different types of cheese that all taste very well, shredded right on top. They hot box in there, so it's good and stringy.
Yeah. And
turns out to be some awesome fries.
The rest is history. Now, when you're conceiving of this, I was talking to a previous guest, and we were talking about how the difference between success and failure a lot of times isn't necessarily the brain capacity, but more the ability to act on something that you're thinking about. So in other words, many people have great ideas. They'll have a fleeting thought that, that's going to make me $1 million, that kind of thing. But the problem is a lot of times that's where it kind of sits. It never goes beyond that. It's someone told me one time, the closest I ever came to being a millionaire was thinking one time when I was sitting in a chair, I wish I could change my TV for my chair. But they never acted on it, and a few years later, remote control came out, right? So that's kind of how those differences set in. Now, for you had a great idea, and I, looking at it now after you've already done all the work, I'm thinking, why didn't I think of that? That's a great idea. But there was what you did that most people don't do is you acted on it. You actually apparently sat down and kind of wrote out what you were wanting to do. And,
oh, definitely.
And was that like a process? To be honest, I don't really know how did you start about, once the concept was there, how did you start about, you just started looking for a location?
So the first thing I was doing at the point I really kind of brainchilded it up, I guess you could say.
Yep.
I was losing weight at that time.
Yeah.
I was 350 pounds.
350.
Yes.
And I'm curious, before you go further, how did you lose all the weight?
I started with a couple of different kind of diets. I was doing paleo for a little while, did keto.
Yeah.
And finally I just got into calorie counting. Mm-hmm. Because everyone, all kind of different diets, they talk about how you plateau.
Yes.
And, looking into using different types of exercise and figuring out what do I want to be? Because if you're basing your calorie count off where you start, you're not going to get where you want to finish.
Right.
If you base your calorie count off of where do I want to be, well, if you're lower than what you need to be for your ideal weight, eventually your body's going to get there because you're going to lose weight until you get there.
Yes, that's a great point. And in his case, folks, I know it's kind of hard to tell on camera, but he's 6'5". So he's a tall guy to begin with. And so his ideal weight would be different than obviously somebody 5'10", 5'11". But yes, you're exactly right. You do plateau at some point on all diets. And personally, intermittent fasting works very well for me. I like it because I can get off of it, gain a bunch of weight, and then just go right back to it and drop 20 pounds just quick. But your method, I guess you'd call it just a calorie restrictive diet.
Yeah.
Also very good. I mean, and the common sense with diets, not to get into a diet conversation on a French fry show, but the common sense to diets is it's calories in, calories out. So, but you've done very well with it. So how much have you lost total?
On the scale, I lost 150 pounds.
Wow, that's amazing, man.
But I wasn't doing anything then. And now I lift a lot. I play baseball with my son half hour at least every day. We usually have a couple times we'll go play for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
He spends most of it on the bench tired, and I'm actually out getting everything set for our next go round, which makes me feel awesome because it used to be, he wanted to go play. After 10 minutes, I was like, buddy, it's hot. I got to go back inside.
Yeah.
And now I'll spend 2 hours out there playing baseball, having a great time with my son, which is great.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's fantastic.
And really, as far as the business, it was really the same thing.
Yeah.
It was, I started with, I knew I wanted to make a new concept. So I worked with fries and I had a couple of gravies that I thought would work really good with it. So I wanted to make sure, one, that they could always be frozen. Mm-hmm. That way, because eventually what I would like to do is actually have franchises.
Yes.
And I'll produce it from a plant that will ship it to the franchise.
Yeah.
So it needs to be able to be frozen. That way it's easily transportable across the United States to where it needs to go. So getting all the different flavors that I decided I was going to go with, I had to come up with 3 of them from scratch, which was a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
The other 2 I pretty much had already.
Wow.
So really I started with making sure I had the flavors down right.
Yeah.
Before I really got into the idea of the location itself.
Hey, before you watch the newest episode of Local Leaders of Podcast, I want to tell you about the newest sponsor, Idell Lane Spa and Boutique. Now, Peyton Courtney and the crew over there are much more than just clothing. You can get spray tans. You can get skincare services, makeup, and so much more. They're located at 29568 Walker South Road, Suite B. And I'm going to link their Facebook page to the bottom of this video. So just go there, click the link, and you can get all the information you want about all their exciting services. Peyton Courtney and Idell Lane Spine Boutique, the newest proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast.
I honestly was going to start with a food truck.
Yeah.
Was the idea, but zoning ideas and problems with that in Livingston, which is where I was going to try, ended up making it so that wasn't going to be feasible.
Yeah, it's
I switched
tough
to
with the
location.
food truck laws, it's interesting. Like New Orleans, I was looking into kind of their, because they obviously have a huge food truck, I guess popularity with all the tourists and stuff.
Yeah.
And they actually sell licenses for the food trucks, but they limit them. So it's, if it's kind of like taxis. They limit taxis too, from what I understand, or did. So it's crazy how much restriction is involved in the food truck business.
Definitely.
I never really realized that, but hopefully that'll get better and all of that. And who knows, in the long run, it did allow you to kind of open your restaurant there. Yeah. And so one door shut, another one opened, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I've got a location which I hope to be at for a long time.
Yes.
That's the plan for sure.
Yes. Absolutely. And I think you're off to a great start. It's gained a whole bunch of popularity, and I know a lot of my folks that I didn't realize went there. So make sure you when you do go by Big John's Fast Fries, tag the location and let people know. Yes,
go ahead.
please.
If you check in on Facebook and let us know, we will happily give you a 5% discount every time.
Yes, there you go, 5% off. I'll take that every day. Now, the interesting thing also is the date that you chose to open Big John's Fast Fries, December 16th of 2020, smack dab in the middle of a pandemic. Now, since that was your opening date, I would imagine you kind of got started with the business prior to the pandemic. So it didn't stop you.
Kind of, sort of. I had been saving up. I had the amount that I was looking for, trying to get to, where I said, okay, this is what I want to have. This is how I want to have everything set. And then I'm going to go. And I got right to the doorstep of it, and pandemic happened, so I kind of put it off. And it's like it kept on being harder and harder to make sure that, like, that reason for having the nest egg.
Yeah.
It was like you said, just having the idea in my head was one thing, but finally it was right around September. I was like, I can't do it. Too many things keep on coming up. I keep wanting to use this for something else. If I'm going to do this, I have to do it.
Yes.
So I just started. It was go time, and I was full go from then. And honestly, if it hadn't been for a couple of miscommunications, like there were some licenses I didn't realize I needed. There were some problems between the man who owns the building and some of the inspectors.
Yeah.
And
always.
So we actually, we got delayed actually by almost a month. I would have opened almost a month earlier.
Yeah.
Because once I decided it was time to go, I was going.
You ducked your head down and you went straight for it. It's interesting. You mentioned earlier, you work Big John's Fast Fries isn't your only employment. You have another job in addition to that. I was that same way when I started the podcast. I was working 2 jobs at once, trying to manage, and even Mr. Milkshake, another friend of ours that, he was the same way. He had a bread route and was also working food trucks all over the place. So it's interesting how entrepreneurs typically, they start off that way. And then eventually you grow to the point you're like, okay, it's time to quit that first job or whatever.
It's kind of funny because everyone I've talked to, like yourself, and I haven't talked to Mr. Milkshake, but my CPA, I go to Shelby Carnahan.
Yes, Carnahan Andrews.
Yeah, and when she first really got into it, she was kind of working too, and it's everyone asks, well, how long are you going to work till you get to quit?
Yeah,
and it's like, that's kind of the mentality that people come to you with. And I'm like, I'm not going to quit until I have to.
Right.
I'm
And
like, I'm holding on to this because I know this takes care of what I need to. That's going to take care of itself. And now I can build this more and more. So as long as I can hold on, I'm going to. And that's, I've always kind of said, that's my goal is I'm going to hold on to that job as long as I can.
Absolutely.
When this gets to be too much, well then, I'm not going to have a choice.
And you'll know,
have to pick one or the other.
That's right. And you'll know when that time comes. And I believe that God kind of, pushes you towards where you're supposed to be in life. And so you'll know. It'll come to you one day. It'll be like the most comfortable decision you ever made, which is crazy. Because I was just like you. I'm like, ain't no way. And so it's crazy how life comes full circle with that. Now, to say your fries are unique is really an understatement. When I went and looked online at all the, you can pull up pictures on Facebook, and you have a great website that you can check out as well. The branding is just unbelievable. It's really, really good. And from your slogan, which is consistently good, consistently fast, ... fries. And you also have a logo which features a lady fry.
Yeah.
And her name is Frenchie.
That's right.
And so let me ask you, how did you come up with such good branding for your business?
That was another thing when I was thinking about it. I wanted to make sure from the get-go that I had my logo set. I had really the brand set, because if you do that from day one, then anyone who sees it, they'll recognize it.
Yes.
And I wanted to have something like that. So our box is actually very iconic that way. It's a quart-sized box. It's got Pete Tater and Frenchie on it. Instead of having like a squares, it looks a little more like diamond, kind of like the old-fashioned.
The Chinese boxes.
Yeah,
or whatever.
the Chinese box.
Chinese food box. Yeah. Your branding's really good. It's eye-catching. The colors even, down to the colors. And us as business owners, that's a stress for us, because once you kind of brand yourself, it's really hard to rebrand it after that. So you want it to be right, because if you start off on the wrong foot with your branding, it's a mess.
Definitely.
So you hit it 100%, out of the park. First time out. Planet provides a full range of residential and commercial landscape services, including plant and tree installs, grading and drainage, patio paver and retaining wall installs, and much more. Reach out to them at 225-252-4905. Planet, they are a world apart, and a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. So that's the first thing you'll notice when you go to his website and his Facebook is the branding is really, really good. Now, Big John's Fast Fries offers, I guess you'd call it COVID-safe options in addition to the dine-in they're worth mentioning. You offer drive-through, you offer waiter service, which includes online ordering through your website. You also have carry-out in addition to your dine-in service. How beneficial was it to have that drive-through? Because you did open in the middle of COVID.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were drive-through only, actually, for a long time. We've only been open on the inside for maybe a month.
Yeah.
And we always allowed people, you could call ahead, but you still had to come to the drive-through when you were picking it up. And that was a huge thing in picking the actual location itself.
Yes.
Was, I had to have a drive-through because we were going to be drive-through only when we started.
Yeah, and that's your heart kind of goes out to those restaurants that weren't set up for that, and then COVID hit, because if you didn't have a drive-through or you didn't have a patio, you were in a bind. So thank God you had that, and that kept you rocking and rolling even through a pandemic, which is a good thing as well. So let's talk about your fries, the best part of what you do. And I want to run through your menu a little bit. So I did, I printed out your menu. We're just going to kind of get people's mouths watering here, if I can put my hands on it. And so this is Big John's Fast Fries menu. And we'll go to step one on that menu, which is you kind of choose your I guess your spices of your fries, what you put on them. What do you have on those?
So our regular fries, actually, when we fry them, we don't put anything on it. So it's just a very, very bland fry. We don't put salt. We don't put anything. So when you put the cheese and the sauce on it, it really just holds just that cheese and the sauce flavor. You don't have the extra salt.
Yep.
But if you want to add other things to it, we've got the garlic parmesan that you can put on there.
Sounds so good.
And we also have, I call it spicy pepper. I am not from Louisiana, so to call it Cajun might be just a little bit sacrilegious. I know that well enough. I'm
That's
not
right.
from here.
That's okay.
I've been told it is definitely spicy enough.
Good deal.
I'll let that be up to you.
And it has a white truffle olive oil with it.
Yes.
Which is good.
So because, like I said, we don't put anything on them when we fry them.
Yeah.
We just spray the little white truffle olive oil on there to make sure that the seasoning sticks. That way you've got a good coating on your fries.
Fantastic. And then you get to pick your gravy, I guess, on that?
Yep.
Tell me about that.
So from there, you'll pick the gravy, and we've got our roast beef is just a good old-fashioned brown gravy. Tastes just like grandma's old-fashioned roast beef and rice.
Yum.
Really. And I've been told from a lot of people that I have the best roast beef in town. So please come try it out. Let me know what you think.
Yes. You got a potato, is it potato pork?
Potato pork.
Potato pork.
That's like you said, I had the male and the female fries. Well, those were named by my son.
Yes.
We decided we were going to try and name them. And
well, he did great on that.
The names we came up with that he liked the best was potato and Frenchy fries.
Love it.
So we have potato pork. That is our cheese sauce.
Yep.
It's more of a mac and cheese than a nacho cheese, but when people go and get cheese fries, that's what they're going to be thinking of. It's liquid cheese, and it's got just that hint of barbecue pork in it.
Yes.
Because, I mean, if you think about it, when you go to have pork ribs, you eat it with mac and cheese.
Yeah.
I just took the flavors, put it together, and put it on fries.
That's smart.
It
seems like common sense, but it's not.
It's just an awesome blend of flavors. It doesn't seem like it should work, but oh my goodness, if you put it on fries, it's ridiculous.
Oh, I bet it is. And then the creamy chicken.
The creamy chicken is your standard white gravy. It tastes just like an Alfredo. Yes. So if you put it with garlic parmesan and mozzarella, I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And if you pair it with pizza, it actually tastes just like a chicken parmesan.
Yes. And then speaking of pizza, you do have a pizza gravy.
I do have a pizza gravy. It's just like a marinara. And that one is kind of almost a magic trick because it says that it's got sausage, peppers, and pepperoni.
Yeah.
I've had multiple people, if you try it, wanting to have cheese pizza.
Oh, yeah.
It'll remind you a little cheese pizza. If you try it, wanting sausage. Like my son loves sausage pizza, but he doesn't like pepperoni that much.
Yes.
He didn't believe that there was pepperoni in it. I had to actually pull out the pieces to show to him because his taste buds aren't looking for it, so he won't find it.
It's true. Yeah.
So depending on what kind of pizza you like, it actually does. I've had people tell me it tastes like Meat Lovers, Supreme. It's what you're looking for is what you're going to find.
And then probably what would be my favorite, the taco chili.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds really
everyone's
good.
heard of chili cheese fries.
Yep.
And I just, what could make chili cheese fries a little bit better? Well, make it taste a little bit like tacos.
Yes.
So you want Taco Tuesday, you can have chili cheese fries with that great taco flavor, a little bit of spice, put it on fries.
Yes. And then so you pick that, folks. You pick the spice on the fries you want, then you pick the gravy, and then you come to step 3, which is kind of the toppings on there, and you pick the cheese.
Yep.
So you have mild cheddar, sharp cheddar, mozzarella, and pepper jack.
Yeah. It's so the reason I picked those, if you get mozzarella, it doesn't add a whole lot of flavor, but it will make it really creamy. It's got that nice string pull that people can get with it. I mean, it does have flavor, but compared to the sauce and gravy that you're going to put on it, it's not going to pull out a ton of flavor.
Right.
The pepper jack is going to add just a little bit of extra heat, a little extra kick. Yep. Sharp cheddar gives it a real strong cheddar flavor, and the mild cheddar just gives you just a little hint of cheddar flavor.
Yeah.
That way, I mean, just depending on what kind of flavor you want to put with it, it puts that on there, and it puts that little bit of a barrier between the fries and the sauce.
Yep.
That way, until you really start opening it up and digging in, it won't start making your fries too soggy.
Wow, that sounds good. And you do offer meal deals for $7 or something like that. And tell me about your meal deals. What are those entail?
Really what the meal deal is, it's your fries, cheese, gravy, and a drink.
Yep.
And all we're going to charge you for is your fries and your gravy. The cheese and the drink are free.
And the good service is also free.
We do try and make sure it's a family restaurant, so we try and make sure you feel at home.
Absolutely. And you can get extras with these things, folks, like bacon, extra cheese. You can actually buy pints of the or half pints of the gravy.
Yep.
Fantastic.
So we've got bacon, jalapenos, and sour cream are the side add-ons that you can put on there.
Yep.
And I mean, the bacon and the sour cream, the jalapenos we put on the fries. The sour cream we actually give you on the side. That way you can put as much or as little as you want.
Yum.
Do it according to the way your flavor works.
Yep.
And yes, so if you wanted to just have chili or nachos at home, if you wanted to make roast beef and rice and you're in a hurry, you can grab the microwave from the store, grab a half pint of gravy from us for $5.
Off you go.
You're good.
Yum. And then now I know what y'all are all thinking. He can't have a dessert fry, can he? That can't be possible. Well, at Big John's Fast Fries, it's totally possible. And yes, he has desserts. Tell me about your dessert fries.
So our dessert fries, somebody asked if we were going to have a dessert, and they went into all different options. And I started thinking about it, because we don't salt the fries. Mm-hmm. They're just a plain potato, which doesn't have a ton of flavor to begin with. Well, if I put powdered sugar on it, it reminds you a little bit of beignet fingers or a funnel cake.
Yeah.
If I put brown sugar and cinnamon on it, it'll remind you a little bit of a cinnamon roll or a king cake.
Yeah.
And actually, that's one of the fries that we do have is a king cake fry.
Yep, you heard that right. King cake fries.
King cake fries. And we have had plenty of people who told us it does taste just like a king cake.
Oh, wow.
Believe it. It doesn't seem like it should work. It really doesn't. For most people, they're like, they give you that look.
There's no way. Yeah.
You say what? And
it sounds lovely.
So
sounds good to me.
Our signature fries are actually our king cake fries.
Yeah.
And that you get two sauces with that. We top it with the vanilla, just like a king cake would be with sugar sprinkles. So it actually looks like a king cake when you open it up.
Yeah.
And the other one is an Easter fry. That's with the powdered sugar, and we put just about everything in it. It's got marshmallows, chocolate chips, chocolate, white chocolate, caramel, our Fantastically Fruity, which is a sauce that we make in-house.
Yep.
And then we top that with sprinkles, and it's just like an Easter candy box.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds so good. And he mentioned sauces. So they have a raspberry sauce, a chocolate sauce, vanilla sauce, a caramel sauce. And your Fantastically Fruity contains raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, grapes, and pears all in one tasty sauce. So so plenty of sauces there. And you mentioned you have the brown sugar, cinnamon, and the powdered sugar. Yep. But there's some off-menu items on there, like what he mentioned with the king cake. That's an off-menu item. You won't see it when you go through the drive-thru, and it's I wouldn't call it a secret, but it's just not on the drive-thru thing. So
we have
doesn't mean they don't have it.
We managed to just put up a brand new sign that actually does have our king cake and donut on there.
Excellent. And the Easter fries, are they on the?
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. They're on menu now, those Easter fries. How about donut fries?
So the donut fries, the reason they're not on the menu, we do give them to people all the time.
Yeah.
But it would cost you the same to build them yourself as it is to have us do it.
Gotcha.
So if you just know to order donut fries, if you tell us, we can make it for you.
Yes.
But we aren't going to charge you extra because the signature fries, actually, it is a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
To have us, if you just order it that way, you save, I think, 50 cents by telling us you want a king cake fry or you want an Easter fry. And then you tell us what you want us to put on it. Whereas the donut fry, it would actually be cheaper just to order what comes on it and have us put it on for you.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
And
so
I don't want to charge customers extra.
No. I mean, look, it's amazing, folks, what you get from this place. So as I said earlier, I do encourage you to go out there and look on Facebook, look on his website, because he's got some good pictures on there too that you can kind of see before you go by. And you can order online, which is convenient. Everybody's wanting to order online now, you know.
And another thing, if you're in a rush, if you call us and tell us that you're coming, give us an ETA. You can walk right inside, pick it up. We'll have it ready for you.
Oh, wow. There you go. So that's convenient. You can just call it in and they'll have it ready for you as soon as you pull up, I guess. And you can go through the drive-thru. You don't even have to go in. You can go through the drive-thru and just tell them you called in an order, I would imagine. Mm-hmm. And they'll get you fixed up now. William Waldrop of TWFG Insurance in Denham Springs can service all of your insurance needs. Offering auto, life, health, and commercial insurance, William Waldrop of TWFG Insurance is a proud supporter of Local Leaders, the podcast. Now, I asked you to provide me a few statements regarding your business, and one of the things I asked you was how your business stands out, kind of, other than the obvious that you're the only person that does, fries like you do them. But you actually answered that question in such a way that I want to quote it. You said, our business stands out from our competitors because there isn't anyone else involved who makes what we are making in the variety that we offer, with the taste and quality that we can deliver time and time again. We have taken the French fry and tried to think of as many different ways that it can be made to taste even better and let our customers choose just exactly how they want it to be put in the box. You can get loaded fries other places, but I put our flavor up against anybody's. I think you nailed it right there. It's obvious the guy cares about what he's doing. He wants a quality product. That's what that kind of says to me. You have a lot of concern for consistency and quality, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and consistency is key in any business, really, whether it's the food business or the podcast business. You want to be consistent, but especially with food, because that's something that if somebody gets it and just it sets the taste buds off, they want to go back again and have that same experience. So
Definitely.
The consistency is important. Everybody that I've talked to that's had your fries, that's one thing they comment on, is they taste the same whether you're there one time or 15 times. They always taste consistently good, which is your slogan, oddly enough. So shout out on that. I thought you put that very well, the way that you stated it.
Thank you.
And so check that out again. And now we want to get to your why statement. So We've kind of talked about your fries a little bit. And now I'm kind of wondering, and I'm sure people are out there, why does Big Jon do this? Well, it's obvious Big Jon wants to be a billionaire, right? You would be surprised. So in every questionnaire that I do, as my listeners already know, I ask people to supply a why statement. I'm going to read Big Jon's why statement verbatim, because it is that important that I kind of verbalize this. So Big Jon said, I really didn't even start this business with the idea of creating a new fast food chain. I don't want or care if this makes me rich. I started all of this because of the Parkland shooting a few years ago. When everyone was trying to figure out how to stop it from happening, I really did look hard at it, and I saw that something could be done. I want to fund a research foundation that looks into and creates a program for teachers that will allow them to use their current curriculum with targeted activities. Then through observation, they can hopefully determine their K through 5 students' personality type, or as close to that as can be accomplished. With that information, a teacher would be able to know which students might need help before they struggle, know ways that they should be able to problem solve and overcome those struggles. They will be able to help students with communication problems with other students and to understand what they are trying to say to help them to develop better interpersonal skills. It is my hope that the program can help our youth to be stronger mentally and personally so that they grow to be middle school and high schoolers. And when they do, they don't get to a place where they feel alone, misunderstood, angry, or desperate that they go to a school ready to do violence. My business is merely a vehicle to fund that research. I bet none of y'all expected me to say that. That's pretty strong, my brother. I mean, there's no other way to put that. And I really can't disagree with any of your thought process on that. It is a concern. It is a problem, right, in our society. What kind of makes you different is you're not someone that's saying, and we haven't previously talked about this, but you're not someone that's saying, we need massive gun control and we need to take guns away from everybody. You're just basically saying we need to, while taking guns away would alleviate the issue of people having guns. What you're saying is we need to get to the problem. Yeah. The problem isn't the gun. The problem is the person that's holding the gun and they're, what's going on up in their head, I would imagine.
Exactly. It's when I really started to look at the Parkland shooting, they talked about that student himself. He had been bounced through several schools. The local police.
Fit Blends of Denham Springs can help you with everything from meal prep to supplements. I love it that they serve breakfast all day in addition to the best ultra healthy wraps you can really get anywhere in Livingston Parish. They are home of the $5 Smoothie Friday and are an amazing sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. Fit Blends Denham Springs, fast, fit food for you.
Police, sheriff, state, even the local FBI office had him written down as a possible threat. And that to me says a lot of people did know that he was having trouble, that he was struggling, that he was angry. And how did he get there? How did he get to that point where he was still just so angry and there was no outlet? There was no one he could talk to, no one who could help him in any way. And at work, I work at a plant, and a lot of what we do there is root cause.
Yeah.
And with that, you look at, how do you keep a problem from happening?
Right.
What can you do to stop it before it even starts?
Yes.
And, I looked at with kids, I guess the way I looked at it, if you go 20, 30 years ago, you had a lot of single job families.
Yeah.
Dad would go, he'd bring home the bacon. Mom was at home. Her job, she took care of the kids. She took care of the house.
Yeah.
And you almost can't do that anymore.
No.
This day and age, one, you have a lot more single parent families. You have parents that both parents have to work just to make sure that all the bills are covered. And, you stop learning so much from mom how to fix things, how to deal with things. I kind of do it with my kids is when they get really upset, first I tell them, you figure it out.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily like that.
Right.
And when they can't figure it out and I see that they're getting frustrated, then I come and I give them any idea I can think of that will work for them to fix the problem.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I'm limited by, I'm going to be able to tell them what I think would help work, but I don't know every way that would work.
Right.
And, if you look at, they've got the Myers-Briggs test, they've got the anagram test, they've got, you brought it up when we talked about it before, the DISC test.
Yes.
There's all these different things that help you to see how you think, how you perceive things. So what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, things that you can do to try and improve yourself. Well, a kindergarten through fifth grader isn't going to be able to do that.
No.
But if we can figure out how using activities to essentially have them actively do the Myers-Briggs test or an anagram test or a DISC test, so we can figure out, okay, here's what their personality type is. So now we have a good idea of what they will struggle with, what they're going to be good at. And now you can say, okay, here is your list of things that should work for you.
Yeah.
I might not have been able to think of it, but this is what should work for them. Yes. And then you can start to help those students in their environment, help them inside the way that they're going to think.
Wow. You're exactly right. And I think that's an issue probably in schools all over the country. And in teachers, they're kind of hamstringed on what they can do. They can't get too personally involved. And so to me, it would help the problem. You're being proactive instead of reactive.
Exactly.
Which is, a lot of the country now, it seems like we react to a lot of things instead of proactively finding solutions before they start, before the issue becomes a problem. And that's what leaders do. They're proactive.
It's kind of the old adage of baking.
Yeah.
When you've got all your base ingredients and you're going to mix them all together, which is what you're really doing with kids, all the way through middle school, is you're taking and putting all the ingredients together to help them learn how to be who they are. Mm-hmm. Well, then you start mixing it together and baking it. Well, if they had salt instead of sugar and you don't catch that way back when, it's really hard to fix it once you get towards the end.
Indeed.
I mean, you have to. I mean, I understand, yes, that there's a lot of things you can mask, a lot of things you can disguise. So yes, you can react. There are things you can do to try and do as prevention, but it's just that you're just preventing a problem. Essentially, you're passing it off.
Yeah.
You're not actually trying to solve something.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can go back and you can actually help someone who might get to that point so that they never reach there, that to me is it's so much of a better option than just trying to react.
Yeah, it really is. And so what John's basically saying there is this business eventually, and correct me if I'm wrong, obviously, but eventually you'd like to franchise this and use some of those funds to kind of start I guess you could say a nonprofit that assist in finding solutions to this issue that we have in this country. And I think that's being very proactive. And you've obviously put a lot of thought into it. It obviously struck a chord with you pretty deep.
It did,
to say the least.
My plan is take the one I've got now, build it into 4, maybe 5. Take that, be able to make the plant I was talking about before, so I can do the franchises.
Yep.
And the franchises are going to go where they're going to go. I mean, if I turn into the next McDonald's, Taco Bell, whatever, that's great, because that's just more funding for it.
That's right.
Because whatever my paycheck should be for that, I'm honestly happy with what I make now.
Yeah.
I don't plan on taking home much more than I make now. So if I'm supposed to make more than that, that's just money that's going to go to the foundation.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's very unselfish.
I'll take what I've got because I'm happy with my life, and I'm going to use that to try and make something better.
Wow. That's fantastic.
That's what the plan is.
Yeah, that's huge, man. That's it's just awesome. It really is. Do you have any plans to put one in Livingston Parish?
I do, actually.
Yes.
I definitely do want to have one in Denham Springs. It's
Love it.
I've got the one I've got now. I'm doing one in Denham. I'm going to do one in Hammond, and I'm going to do one in New Orleans.
Fantastic.
Whether or not I do a second one in Baton Rouge, maybe Gonzales, maybe Central, or maybe 2 in Denham Springs, that's going to be where I may or may not have a 5th one.
Yeah, time will tell on that, I guess, as far as that goes. But we'd love to have one here in the LP and get our fast fries. But it's, you're not far away now. You're right there on Sherwood Forest, old Brewbacher's building. Yep. For those of you, just about everybody's probably familiar with Brewbacher's from back in the day. So that's where they're at. They're easy to find, and I guess conveniently located. Probably about 10 minutes from here, maybe something like that from the exit.
From here, it'd be 10 minutes.
Yeah, not bad at all. So don't let the fact that it's in Baton Rouge just sway you if you're in the Livingston Parish area. It's just right down the street from us. Now, Stephanie Berthelot and the crew at SR Enterprise can handle it all, from sheetrock to texture to paint. Give Stephanie a call at 504-432-9284. SR Enterprise, where they spread the paint and you spread the word. I also asked you in your questionnaire, I asked you what defines a leader. Another great statement that Big John makes. I'm like, man, this guy's full of like great points. So I asked him what defines a leader, and Big John said, my definition of a leader is a person who sees the problem, works to find a solution, makes a plan to accomplish it, and then is willing to put in the time and effort to make it happen. Someone who isn't afraid to admit the things they cannot do and find the person who can, and who won't allow obstacles to shut them down, but finds a way over and through it. Someone who cares about people and that are with him making it all happen. Now, I want to say something in that really struck me, and that was when you said someone who isn't afraid to admit the things they cannot do and find the person to do it. Probably one of the best pieces of leadership advice anyone could ever get. You're one of 2 people I've had come on the show. Another gentleman had said, I asked him what he thought a leader was, and he basically said, figure out what you're not good at and then hire someone who is. If you're an owner of a business, but you're a horrible salesperson, hire a good salesperson. The problem with a lot of businesses failing is the guy at the top thinks he or she, or gal at the top, they think they are good at everything. And you have to be able to admit your weaknesses and where you may not be so good, and you may own a business and you're just horrible at sales. You're just not a salesperson. Some people are, some people aren't. Hire someone to be a salesperson.
Exactly.
That is good at it. And you would be surprised how much you grew. But you also said that was one of the best pieces of advice I felt like anybody could ever get, was recognize your weaknesses and then hire people that are good at them. Don't think you're good at everything. Nobody is good at everything, unfortunately.
At the end of the day, there was a leadership course that I took, and there was a comment made that struck me. And he was talking about, when you first start a business, it's just you.
Yes.
So no matter how many hats there are, you have to wear all of them.
Yes, that's right.
So if there's a hat you can't wear, you better find someone who can wear it now.
Great.
And you
advice.
also have to understand, the more you grow, the bigger all those hats get. So you can't wear all of them.
Yes.
Again, you have to continue to figure out and prioritize, what do I have to do? And then find the people who can do everything that you can't.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And that's where people, the old adage is an owner doesn't want to spend all their time working in their business. They want to work on their business. And if you don't hire people, all of us have to do that at the beginning, the 16-hour days, and, all of those sorts of things. Those at the beginning you have to do, but there comes a point where if you want to grow, you're going to have to hire people. You're going to have to bite the bullet, pay a little more money or whatever, to get people in there, because you won't grow any other way. You just can't. You just can't do it all by yourself. So, so you got some great advice there, man. Another thing that really struck me on that. Now, referrals in any business, including Big John's Fast Fries, those are important. And in the beginning, especially when you're starting up, you kind of rely on those. You want everybody to tell everybody, right?
Definitely.
You mentioned some folks specifically that helped you kind of get a jump start on your business. I wanted to shout them out because they may get they'll appreciate the shout out, and I thought it was really nice of you to say. And I also know both of these people, one of them extremely well. So you said the best referrals I can get is word of mouth from my customers who like my food, obviously. And then there were some people who were instrumental in helping me get going. One of those would be Cheryl Jean with Triton Healthcare, which is actually right here in Denham Springs. She actually was on my show before. Love Cheryl Jean. She is not only a top-notch physical therapist who has helped me when I had a shoulder surgery a few years back, but also a tremendous person, helped me get helped to point me to a ton of people that helped me get going. And she's an active member of a B&I group here, Livingston Leaders. And you also mentioned Juan Semino from Vivid Ink Graphics. Yep. He helped you get your boxes made as well as your menu boards that you see in the restaurant. But he's also been happy to help with recommendations such as coming on Jim Chapman's Local Leaders of the podcast.
Definitely helpful.
We both thank him for that. Thank you very much, Juan. I appreciate that. Referrals are huge, and they are huge when you first start. But you know what the best thing about referrals is? If somebody tells you, go to Big John's Fast Fries, it's because it was good. It's because you enjoyed it. So don't hesitate when you go and you're enjoying them fries to just shout them out on Facebook. We all like that, and especially when you're a startup business like this, you can use all the help you can get out there, and social media has the numbers.
Yeah.
So
we're on Facebook, Instagram. We're pretty much all over the place. And if you come by, even if you don't absolutely love it, if there's something you have to tell us about, we'd love to hear it. If you do love it, please go on and just let us know what you thought.
keep referring Big John. There's a lot of people out there that have great things to say. You also offer punch cards, and we talked about this a little bit on the show, but I wanted to shout this guy out. So I have a friend named Steve Bernard. Everybody in Livingston Parish knows Steve Bernard with Client Tech Services, and he mentioned that he goes there all the time. He's filled up like 3 punch cards, and he called me the other day when he saw that you were going to be on the show, and he said, man, I love that place. I go there all the time, take my kids there. And he said, there's somebody there that actually goes more than me. And he was telling me his office is also on Sherwood Forest, but to get to your place, he has to make a U-turn. And he's like, the traffic can get heavy on Sherwood, like when he gets off of work. So he said the other day he was pulling out, it was kind of heavy traffic. And he was gonna say, I'll go by tomorrow. But then he started thinking about that person that has more punches than him. And he actually said, I hit that U-turn, and I said, no, because if I don't go, that person's gonna go, and they're gonna get another punch. So the moral of the story on that is, and there's a couple of things. Steve Bernard is very competitive, as we all know. Number 2, punch cards work. There's no doubt about that. And number 3, Big John's Fast Fries does have punch cards. What do the punch cards do? What do they do?
So every time you get a meal at our restaurant, we're going to give you a punch on that card. After 12, your 13th one is free at a $7 value.
Ooh, we love free stuff. And so there you go. $7 value there once you fill that up. We already talked about your goals and stuff with Big John's Fast Fries, which was to eventually franchise it out. You're looking at possibly a second location right here in Denham Springs. We talked about your $7 meal deals that you offer. So people that are used to ordering that way, they can. You really getting the drink for free on that, just about.
Yep.
And again, on social media, how important of a role would you say that that's played so far in your business? Like, would you say you've been active with it and it's really been kind of a godsend as far as?
That's one thing I'm not good at.
Yeah. Most owners are not, believe it or not.
No,
I get that a lot.
So actually my ex-wife, who the only problem we had was we were married to each other.
Yeah.
We're still good friends.
Very good.
She takes care of all my social media for me.
Okay.
But she has been very active.
Yes, and she does a good job of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of different groups that we've gotten into. We've gotten mentioned in several places, so it has made a huge difference.
I did see that you got mentioned, actually, and it's funny you mentioned that, no pun intended, but I did see you got mentioned in a couple of major social media, I guess you could say, groups or blogs or whatever, and I printed them out. I just wanted to read them off. I thought it was important people see that. So Red Stick Foodies, which is a pretty well-known social media Instagram site, was talking about your Easter dessert fries at Big John's Fast Fries, which you mentioned earlier. Fries topped with powdered sugar, caramel, raspberry, white chocolate, and milk chocolate drizzle, marshmallows, chocolate chips, and sprinkles. And then he wrote underneath that, or she, I believe this place has the friendliest drive-through servers in town. Dare I say, friendlier than Chick-fil-A. Woo! That's a shout-out compliment right there, brother. And so they must have been very happy with the service there. But that goes to show you some of the things that social media can bring you from I guess a review standpoint. I'm sure it made you very happy.
It did.
To get that.
I was real excited about that one, I could be honest.
And then Eat the Boot, which has become extremely popular on both Instagram and Facebook. I'm going to read theirs off. It said, slid through Big John's Fast Fries and got that potato pork loaded fry box. If you like stuffed baked potatoes and loaded fries, this is like a glorious Frankenstein of flavor that brings the two together. $7 for loaded fries and a drink. Check them out off Sherwood Forest in Baton Rouge. Great lunch and, of course, fast. They even let me try a sample of their king cake fries too. A great sweet treat that works better than it should. So that's Eat the Boot. Another pretty well known and major media outlet as far as social media is concerned. So it's played a huge importance in what you're doing. And I'm glad to see you're getting those positive reviews, and you can check those out. They do have them linked to their website. So you can go there, you can just click on that and it'll bring you to those reviews. So that's a great thing there. Now, what would you say is your most popular main item and your most popular dessert item? If you had to pick a couple.
The most popular is going to be the roast beef.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can see that.
That's something people are most comfortable with to begin with. And like I said, there's a lot of people who do tell us that it's probably the best roast beef in town.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a guy, he comes through and he was the reason we call it, an old fashioned gravy, just like Mom used to make. He's a drummer, a local drummer. And he came in and he came through, I can't tell you how many times.
Yeah.
And asked him, what, because he always orders the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And he said, the first time I had it, the first bite, I was right back in my grandma's kitchen down in New Orleans eating roast beef.
Oh, it's hard to beat.
And I absolutely love that memory. So I come back and I get it every time.
Fantastic.
So
fantastic.
As long as he's still getting the memory, I can't be happier.
Well,
and
there
that's
you go.
definitely our favorite there. The king cake is actually our number one for dessert. Because king cake in this area, of
hard
course.
Hard to beat. And I'm sure I can't wait to go by there and just get one of everything. That's what I want to do. Because to be honest, I like every single flavor you have. There's not anything on that menu I'd be like, man, I could probably do without that. I want to try every one of them. So I'm going to have to pace myself. But definitely do want to try every one of those items. And they all sound really good. So as is tradition on Local Leaders, the podcast, I like to cover fun facts is what we call those. And it's just kind of a fun way that we can learn more about our people that we have on here. And I asked you a few. First one I asked you was, if you purchased a yacht, what would you name it? And you said Frenchie. And I know where you got that from, obviously.
Of course.
Yes, after the lady on the logo. So I asked you if you could buy a stock right now. You said Amazon, and who can complain with that? No. I just wish I would have bought it in like 2003 or something like that.
If I was going to go back a couple months and buy something, it'd be Bitcoin. But
oh, yes. Yeah, it just shot up 15%. Did you see that?
I missed that one.
Yeah, so it just, Bitcoin had a thing last week. It shot up 15% in one day, and I play around with it very sporadic. I mean, I put $50 in it and just see what it'll do, because now it's kind of the hot thing to buy the cryptocurrency, and I always sell it before it goes up. I make like $5. I'm like, oh yeah, like when you go to a casino or something. For me, if I win $2, I'm ready to go. Let's go. And we're up.
Say that I blame you.
We're up. So when you were 12, you wanted to be a football player. Me too. So that's pretty awesome. And common, I'm sure, for us guys. And you're kind of an athlete, so you do a lot of athletic things outside of making fries. What's your favorite? You like golf? I mean, you had listed that on your thing. You like to do a little golfing or top golfing anyway?
Yeah, honestly, I just enjoy going and doing something that's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you got Uptown Climbing that's in town. That's a load of fun if you've never been there.
I've never been there. But
it's indoor rock climbing. It's right by the Home Depot on Coursey.
It's tough too. Yeah. People don't realize how hard that is. I did it one time at a fair. And I went all the way. And when you get up there, it's a workout. I mean, it's harder than it looks, I guess you could say.
Definitely.
So I'll have to check that out. That's interesting. So you also want a super metabolism. If you could have any superpower, I want that too.
Oh, most definitely. I could eat anything I wanted, because believe me, nice? I want to eat everything.
Yes. Yeah. Hard to beat eating. And if you could travel anywhere in the world, you would go to is it Maldives?
The Maldives.
Maldives. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I have seen those. Haven't pronounced them very good, but I've seen them before. Actually, beautiful on the pictures I saw. And you get a cabana right there on the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that sounds awesome. Well, you're going to get there. We're going to get you there.
Someday.
And someday, yes. And you'll be on that cabana and you'll say, I remember when Jim said I was going to get here. So I appreciate you coming on, man. I've had a great time. Again, let's tell everybody where you're located and your hours of operation. Very important as far as that goes.
We're at 3410 South Sherwood Forest Boulevard, and we are open 11 to 7:30.
Yep. Monday through Friday, Monday through Sunday.
That's every day of the week.
Every day of the week. So there you go. No closing time there outside of those hours, or closing days, I should say. So check them out. And I'm going to link all of that actually I'm going to link your website. I'm going to link your Facebook and all of that to my description in this video. So folks, you can just click right down there at the bottom to see everything we talked about today. And speaking of your Facebook, shout that out for us if you know it offhand. Do you know it offhand? I'll link
all of our
no
Facebook
worries.
and our Instagrams are all just Big John's Fast Fries.
Yeah, and you can
If
Google.
you look it up just like that, you'll find it.
Absolutely. Google's an amazing thing. You can punch in Big John's Fast Fries and pull up all kinds of stuff. Even some interesting articles you've had in the Morning Advocate. I saw you have one. And
Yep, we had the one letting them know we were coming and the one letting everybody know that we made it.
yeah, so good reads. So people go check that out too as well. I do want to thank everyone out there for viewing and listening to Local Leaders, the podcast. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe, and share Local Leaders, and share Big John's Fast Fries. Google reviews, very important. So I want to thank all our sponsors, including Trisha Johnson, Realtor, BJ Pond, Fit Blends, Denham Springs, Planet Landscaping, Sport Center, Black Sheep Creative, SR Enterprise Painting, William Waldrop of TWFG Insurance, Idell Lane Spa and Boutique, Look at Me 4D Imaging, and Tiffany Secord of Home Key Mortgage. We could do none of this without all of you. And if you'd like info on sponsoring or appearing on the show, please reach out to Jim at localleadersthepodcast.com. Until next time, I'm Jim Chapman, reminding you to love your community, support local business, eat lots of Big John's Fast Fries, as many as you can fit in one sitting, and keep leading. Thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Local Leaders, the podcast, is proud to support Mighty Moms. Mighty Moms is a community of ordinary people on an extraordinary mission to end childhood hunger in Livingston Parish. You can find out more information by visiting mightymomsgo.org.